So if we go into standard reports, the overview we can see is a little different. We can see we do still have the name, we've got the description, emailers active, and use conditions prompt. But we have one more option, and this is one reason that I like standard reports, and it breaks my heart that this doesn't exist on both, is allow field editing. What we can do if we're allowing field editing for a standard report is on a field by field basis, say, yes, I want this field to be able to be edited directly from the report. So we're offering inline editing without having to jump into the contract record, for example, make your change, and then come back and run the report again. You can make the changes right there for the specified fields. Also keeping in mind that permissions are enforced here too. So if a user has the permission to view the record, but not to edit it, he or she could see it on the report, but could not edit any of that data. We do not, however, select our tables here. So that's one of our key differences. We have its own page for table selection. So we select our primary table, then we can choose to add any subtables as we need. Now, unlike legacy ad hoc reports, we can have as many subtables as we need. And you might be saying to yourself, well, Nash, that sounds great. But there's a little bit of a catch when it comes to our filters and conditions. So once we've added our tables, and if we so choose, we can even color code the subtable so we know what we're looking at a glance. We'll continue to our field selection. Field selection also works a little differently. Because we're selecting our tables individually, we're selecting our fields for each table individually. So we'll select the table to manage, and then we can click to add field. And we get this pop-up. The very first thing I do when I get this pop-up and I'm creating a new report is I click add multiple fields. I hit that tick box. If I don't, and I select my field and I click add field, the pop-up closes. Then I have to click to add field again, get my pop-up to open again, and do the same thing. I'm saving myself a click or two by leaving this open. So I just select my field. Provided it's available, I can choose to show on report. If it's available, I can allow editing for that field in line. Again, provided I said, yes, I want to allow editing. And then, as we already talked about, add multiple fields. If I do have this marked and I click add field, then this just all resets. I'm not returned to this page yet, and I don't see my changes back on the main page until I close this out. So when I'm done, I can just hit the X and move on. So I could hit the X and then select a different table if I have any subtables and continue on there. One item of note here is that we do not have to specify our linked tables. Another item that I love about standard reports. If I select a field that has linked data, it actually gives me a new field for that linked data and says, okay, which field on this linked table do you really want? Then I can select that just like any other field. So here's a big gotcha when it comes to standard reports. We build our rules one table at a time, which means we can only look at the fields one table at a time. And if we take that to its next step, its logical conclusion, that means we cannot filter our parent record results by way of data in a subtable. We can only filter the subtable's results by way of a subtable. We can only filter the primary or parent record's results by way of that primary table rules there. We build these expressions and expression groups the exact same way. So in this case, I would see every single one of my contracts that has a value greater than $100,000 American, and the status is either active or awaiting execution. When we go to run the ad hoc report, provided we set this to allow inline editing, we've got this edit row column. I can click edit row and I pull up a pop-up of any of the fields that I said, yes, I want to be able to edit this. And I can make an edit to the actual, in this example, contract record directly from here. So I could change the status from active to expired if I needed to, and then save the record.